Unfortunately, Dolly was trying to do too much. Her health was suffering and she felt really low. She didn't even feel like playing her guitar or writing songs for months. She needed a vacation. Someplace quiet and far away. Maybe Australia. However, when she arrived in quiet, faraway Australia, Dolly was mobbed by screaming fans. To escape, she rented a little houseboat off a remote island that sounded peaceful. However, her boat was caught in a huge storm. Dolly's high heels were washed overboard, and Dolly almost went with them. The vacation was not a vacation at all. Dolly returned to the United States to do a 35-show tour. She was overtired and often sick. In 1982, Dolly ended up in the hospital for some minor surgery. She knew she had to learn to take better care of herself, but she just couldn't slow down. Dolly made a very successful family movie for TV, A Smoky Mountain Christmas, released in year 1986. The story was sort of like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but the story was also in part of Dolly herself. It told of a lonely, stressed-out singer who retreats to a log cabin in the mountains and finds 7 orphans there. Dolly wrote many of the songs in the movie. In 1988, Dolly had a new TV variety show on ABC, Dolly. It did well at first, but it seemed outdated. Well, what do you know? Well, the jokes were a little too corny, and Dolly and her guests seemed as if they were trying too hard to have fun. The show was a disappointment to Dolly, except for the appearance of one very important guest, Porter Wagner. Dolly and Porter had a wonderful TV reunion. Dolly put aside their old arguments and treated him with all the respect due to the man who played such an important part in her career. Of course, Dolly was still churning out hit pop songs, but now Dolly wanted to return to her roots in country music. She recorded an album of country and folk music with singers Emmylou Harris and Linda Ronstadt. It was called Trio and was nominated for the Album of the Year Grammy Award and won the Grammy Award for Best Country Performance by a duo or group with vocal, or whatever it is. Partly because that music was the kind she'd grown up with, Dolly said that Grammy was a high point in her life. Chapter 8, Dollywood Dolly, because I know that it was similar than Chapter 7, Hollywood Dolly, but Hollywood and Dollywood rhyme, because Dollywood rhymes with Hollywood. So, anyways, let's get started, shall we? Okay, so, right here we start at Dolly Parton is talented in so many different ways. She is also a very smart businesswoman. People call her the Iron Butterfly. That means she looks delicate but is tough. In 2004, the Wall Street Journal called her one of the most important women in the world for business and industry. Dolly runs a huge group of businesses called Dolly Parton Enterprises. She has had her own record, movie production, and music publishing companies. She even owns theme parks. She has invested in real estate, restaurants, dinner theaters, radio stations, farm equipment, hardware stores, garden centers, and macadamia nuts. Dolly makes sensible and intelligent business decisions. Many years ago, Elvis Presley wanted to buy the rights to her song, I Will Always Love You. Elvis would have owned it, but Dolly said no. Since then, she has made millions of dollars on just that one song. Many performers have recorded it, and the version by Whitney Houston is the most famous. According to Dolly, that one has made so much money that Dolly could have bought Graceland, Elvis's home. Of all her businesses, Dolly is proudest of Dollywood. That is her theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, near where she grew up. It's like a big country fair. There are merry-go-rounds, roller coasters, and bumper cars in the carnival. There's a theater where some of Dolly's relatives perform. Nearby people Dolly calls skillbillies. This demonstrate country skills like blacksmithing, weaving, glass blowing, and leather working. There's even a steam-powered sawmill and a life-size mountain homestead. The Southern Gospel Hall of Fame is there too. Nearby is Dollywood's Splash Country, Tennessee's largest water park, and Dolly's Dixie Stampede, a dinner theater she touts is the most fun place to eat in the Smokies. With over 4 million visitors a year, Dollywood and Splash Country have created a lot of jobs for local people. Money from the parks help fund the Dollywood Foundation. It is a charity that inspires kids to read and stay in school. Dolly Parton never liked school much, but she understands the importance of a good education. In Sevier County, Tennessee, a lot of kids were dropping out of high school. Through the Dollywood Foundation, Dolly started giving students $500 if they graduated. $500 if they graduated. That cut the dropout rate in half. The foundation also provided scholarships, computer labs for schools, and clothes and school supplies for needy kids. Dolly had seen how not being able to read had held her back. Her dad. In 1996, Dolly started her imagination library. It gave a book a month to every child in Sevier County from birth to school age. Since then, more than 60 million books have been handed out in the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom. Kids call Dolly the Book Lady. She's proud to be known by that name. Then in 2009, she got an honorary doctorate from the University of Tennessee. So now she's also Dr. Dolly Parton. Okay, 2 more chapters, you kids. Okay. Dolly has supported the Red Cross, HIV/AIDS, the charities, hospital charity, and charities for animals like the American Eagle Foundation. She believes in the right of gay people to marry and says so, which caused her trouble with some fans. But Dolly puts her beliefs first. Her motto is dream more, learn more, care more, and be more. And we stop there. Okay, chapter 9. And we have 1 more chapter left. So here we go. Chapter 9. The Living Legend. The Living Legend award from the Music City News had been given to many of Dolly's heroes, like Johnny Cash and Tammy Wynette. In 1994, Dolly won it! The same year, while still making hit records, she published an autobiography, a children's book, and started her own recording label, Blue Eye Records. She worked with other stars, young and old, such as Loretta Lynn, Neil Diamond, and Billy Ray Cyrus, similar to Miley Cyrus, whose daughter, Miley, is Dolly's goddaughter. I like it when I see that. Ooh, Country Music Hall of Fame. Dolly is never afraid to try something new. Dolly is never afraid to try something new. She has worked with non-country artists like Rod Stewart, Elton John, and Nora Jones. She did an album of patriotic songs called For God and Country. She also did albums that included 60s hits like John Lennon's Imagine. Dolly went back to her roots again and made very successful bluegrass albums. She even sang a bluegrass version of Carl's favorite Led Zeppelin song, Stairway to Heaven. Though Carl was honest and told her he didn't like it. Between recording sessions, Dolly and Carl sometimes got away with their dog in a camper van, staying in motels, and eating in diners. Dolly would go in disguise. She wore no makeup. However, even when she wasn't working, Dolly couldn't stop being creative. On one three-week vacation, Dolly wrote 37 songs. In 1999, Dolly was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Usually, the award is given to people at the end of their career, but not Dolly. She was only 56 and she was just getting rolling. In her acceptance speech, Dolly joked, I thought you had to be ugly or dead to get in. Sadly, a short time later, Dolly's father, Lee, died at age 79. Oh dear, that's not good after all. She said he was the best daddy. She said he was the best daddy a bunch of kids could ever have. Dolly dedicated an album to him, Little Sparrow. Only 3 years later, Dolly's mom, Avie Lee, died and was buried next to Lee. How wonderful that her parents lived long enough to see Dolly's big dreams come true. Far more than a popular performer, Dolly has come to be valued as a national treasure. In 2004, Dolly received her second Living Legend Award, a medal from the U.S. Library of Congress. It honors people who have made America a better place, like children's book author Maurice Sendak, astronaut Sally Ride, General Colin Powell, cellist Yo-Yo Ma, and entertainer Billy Cosby. Then in 2005, Dolly was invited to the White House, where President George W., also known as President George Washington Bush, would present her with the National Medal of Arts. In the United States, it's the highest award an artist can receive, but Dolly had to pick up her award later. She was doing a concert in Oklahoma, and as always, performing for her fans came first. How Dolly makes an album. Well, here's an example. For a new album, Dolly may come into the recording studio with about 25 new songs. She will sing and play them on guitar with the help of people in the studio. She narrows the number of songs down to 12 or so. A producer then writes out the song for the studio musicians. Dolly will sing for them so they get the idea of what